Here's the instructional video for the therapist position and focus for rolling the back. Okay, now that our clients have finished with our snow angel technique, they've gotten this front side of the tissue to soften across the shoulder girdle and rib cage. This is going to now allow us to have the ability to work on getting this back tissue to be a bit more functional and the shoulder girdle tissue on the posterior side of the body. I can't emphasize enough how important this order is. Your clients can go ahead and just do this next technique, but they're going to get so much more bang for the buck if they do the snow angel first and they get this front side to open, and then they can work with more freedom on that posterior side of that shoulder girdle. So we're going to move into our rolling the back technique. And even though that we're saying the words rolling the back, we're really referring to all of the tissue on the back side, which is going to be the latissimus and the trapezius and the rhomboids, all of those tissues back there that tend to get locked long and they get too stretched out. We have to really work on helping those come back and soften. And as we work through the roller through there, that helps stimulate that nervous system. And as long as it's done in a safe way, it allows the nociceptors to calm down, to downregulate that nervous system, and that in turn is what really facilitates the danger signals and the reported pain experiences people are having. So what we're going to have Jenna do is that she is going to we're going to start with her left side. She's going to bring her left arm out just a bit. Now the key with this, with some of our shoulder girdle patients who are having issues, especially on any kind of overhead motion, is that sometimes our patients like to bring their arm up too high when they do this. So they push with the arm, but way too high, and that can really cause more pinching within that glenohumeral joint. And we want to make sure that they're safe and protected so that's not happening. So Jenna's going to keep her arm down at about her rib cage level, around where the diaphragm or the bra line sits on the rib cage. So the next thing that is going to have to happen with your patients is that one of the biggest issues with this initially for our patients is that they don't let the knees and the legs go over as well. They leave the feet stuck here, so when they try to turn, they're trying to twist a tube that only part of it is twisting, and we have to make sure it's all twisting and turning together. So if any of your clients are struggling with this whatsoever, we're going to have them practice with the wall version of this technique. And if this is difficult for them, for their shoulders or their back at all, they're having any kind of pain, immediately just have them do the wall version, because that's going to be just as effective, okay? So here's how we're going to do this. She's going to put her right hand on her belly. She's going to keep her left hand over there on the floor, and she's going to use her hand and her legs to help turn her over. Now the key is she has to go fast to get into position, and that's okay, because we're not trying to influence the tissue the same way as when we use stick or slow to move through a technique. The other piece to having the hand here is that if she keeps her arm over here on the floor and she tries to rotate over that way, it acts as a weight and it kind of keeps her pinned down over here. So by her keeping her hand here, it keeps her body more streamlined, and it actually acts as a bit of a counterbalance to help roll her into the correct position. So hand on the belly, left hand on the floor, the legs are going to turn over. Here's what it's going to look like. She's going to go at a little bit faster pace, and she's going to get turned into her start position. Now the key with this is that she's all the way over on her side. She's all the way on her hips. You can see how her legs have turned over. So the knees and the feet are facing forward, her belly button and her sternum, everything is facing that direction. So now that she's in the correct start position, from here what she's going to do is she's going to use her left hand like Thing from the Addams Family that's going to slowly crawl her over that way, or use it as a brake if she starts going too fast, and she's going to stick her slow, roll herself back to the very middle. And what this is going to do is this is going to work through all of that tissue, the trapezius, the latissimus, the rhomboids. It's going to work through that tissue to help it come back and soften more towards the midline. So as she goes again, she's going to go whoop, get zipped into position. And again, sound effects are always a good thing. She's going to continue to roll through there. As soon as she can let her head relax down onto the roller comfortably, she's going to let the head down, because if you're keeping the head up, it can actually strain that shoulder girdle a little bit more. And then she's going to settle herself back here. Now a couple of points to pay attention to is we want to make sure that when she comes back to center, we want to make sure our clients are centered on the roller, especially for women with a very deep or nice waistline. what happens is that as they get turned on their side, the waistline and the shoulder girdle can kind of fall off, and so they end up getting a little crooked on the roller, and that happens for some guys too. And then the other thing that happens is as they're going through these techniques, they end up sliding and scooching up on the roller. So we always want to make sure that their head and their pelvis are all the way on the roller and they're not hanging off the end. So we're going to watch that one more time from this side, then we'll show you from the other side what that's going to look like. So Jenna's going to go ahead and get into position. Zoom. I was kind of in her way there a little bit. So now she's all the way on her side, and you can see she's all the way over. What some patients do is that they actually only get to this position and they feel like they're going to fall off the back side of the roller, so they're struggling and straining. So it's important that they get all the way turned over here. Again, hips, everything are turned over. Soften. She's going to relax that elbow and that shoulder, and then as she starts going, the head's going to soften, and that's beautifully perfect as she does this. She's had a little bit of practice. So now we're going to switch sides. So what she's going to have to do is that the arms are going to switch. Her left arm comes on her belly, the right arm comes over to this side, again not too high to pinch that shoulder girdle. And now the legs and everything are just going to go all the other way. So she's going to get turned over, all the way over on her side. And here you can see, we can see the whole back side of her body. So what's happening is that she's going to steamroll from the outside to the inside. That's going to work and coax all that tissue back like this, and this is going to be one of the most effective ways to help change any kind of shoulder girdle issues that are happening. So as she lets herself work back to the middle, stick her slow, the head as soon as it can relaxes back down on the roller, the legs turn over, the hips turn over, and it's all turning at the same time, a lot like a hot dog on a hot dog roller in a convenience stand or at the ballpark. That rotisserie dynamic is kind of an important part of this process. So one more time, nice and easy. Our clients are going to get turned over all the way on the hip, all the way on the shoulder. This is working the tricep, it's working the it's working the teres major, the teres minor, it's working through that latissimus and that trapezius, and this is going to be a game changer for your clients who are having shoulder issues. And again, if they're struggling on the floor, just have them do it on the wall because it's just as effective, and anybody can do this, whether they're 9 years old or 90 years old. This is going to be a huge piece to helping your clients find relief from any kind of shoulder girdle issues.